Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Torment, Tides of Numenera. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today as we talk to Dragutin. Most likely, well, one of the most powerful men here in the Bloom. And we have a few quests about Mil Avest. So what do you know about Mil Avest? Alas, I have only heard stories. I know that it was a place of refuge, a sanctuary. I once sought it out. Its name means Stone of Wonders in an ancient, largely forgotten tongue, and I thought perhaps to acquire the stone. I did not find it naturally, but the search allowed me to make the acquaintance of a number of your brethren. This proved fruitful on several occasions. To plunder the treasures of that place, he thinks. Sadly, it will probably never be. Okay, so one of the things that I thought of about him before was that he's not really that good at keeping secrets, because he can't protect from thought reading. And the leader of the Dendrohur, he can, so he's much better. So, yeah, Dragutin over here, he's just a second-rate kind of spy, if he is at all. So, what can you tell me about the other cast-offs? I have had the pleasure of knowing quite a few, he says. Some were excellent business partners and sources of information. Matkina especially, for she knew the Bloom and the city above. In a fear hid from his acolytes in the Bloom, but found no peace here. I have met with the Chalcedon and Page Raken, as they sought advantage for their armies. Your kind are drawn here frequently, though they rarely stay long. Mazov was an intriguing one, he thinks. He did so much more than merely find treasures. A shame what became of him. Yeah, sure. What can you tell me of the Changing God? His mood darkens. Well, your sire is brilliant, but he is dishonest and untrustworthy. I dealt with him while he was in the body of one of your ill-fated brethren. He carried the amulet then. Yeah, that's right, he wants me to get the amulet of magic or whatever. And he vowed that I should have it for my troubles when he had no further need for it. Instead, he locked it away in the Ascension, beyond my reach, and then he vanished. I would have taken my vengeance, but I discovered that the body that returned to me was not the mind, or was not the mind that I had left. The body was not the mind. Well, had not the mind that I left. That would be I understand what you mean, though. It was through this interaction that I came to know more about your kind. But the fact remains that the Changing God is a scoundrel and a cheat, a man who breaks his word as easily as breathing. Okay, it's good that he feels really upset about that, because he said before that he never lies, and I'm not really sure if I should trust him, but if he doesn't lie, then maybe it's okay. I'd like to ask you something else. Let's see what else I can do. So I can ask him about the cast-offs and the Changing God. It's all again. Good. What about the job? No, that's a job he wants me to do. Tell me about yourself. He spreads his hands apologetically. I have a great deal to say about that subject. Most of it is interesting only to me. What is it you wish to know? That's a very reasonable, that's just phenomenal, that perspective right there. If you have that perspective about yourself, you are a better person than I am. Basically, but I do recognize that that is a good way of living, I suppose. What do you do for a living? I'm gonna ask. I am an investor, he says. What is my business? I see you ask with your eyes, and so I answer for you. I deal in strange and exotic Numenera. The Bloom is a crossroads, a fruitful place, and I see much of interest. My particular clientele demands items of an interesting nature, and they pay me well for it. Well enough that I can afford to pay my finders generously and remain solvent. Yeah, how long have you been here? Quite some time, as ordinary humans measure it. I have made the Bloom my base of operations for a good 100 years. I have learned to avoid the political squabbles of its residents, for the political turns personal all too quickly, personal and bloody. He smiles slightly. The ghosts of the past are always with us. In the Bloom, more so. He looks away for a moment. Time changes us all. Justice comes on its own feet. It is best to let events take their own course, and to steer clear of entanglements one cannot control. That's a different perspective, on a different matter altogether. This guy doesn't think he can change the world, basically, that's what he's saying. You can. You can change the world. It's really hard, but, yeah. If there's people doing it, then it's just, he can. Anybody can. So you haven't been in the Bloom your whole life? He looks faintly offended. Oh, by no means. I've traveled from the Clock of Kala to the Steadfast and seen the towering crystal skyfields. I've journeyed to the Forge of the Night Sky, dodging fire whites and spills of magma. I stood upon metal moons to look down upon the earth and saw signs of life in the stars nearby. I have traversed time and space, bending light around the nebula bell, and seen myself transmuted briefly into pure thought. The Bloom is but a small stop. Speak of something else. He sounds like a Time Lord. I was gonna say, for a brief moment, I was always gonna say Time Lord right there, but then I almost switched it to Time Traveler. But he sounds like a Time Lord. Doesn't he? Doesn't he? Except he doesn't talk like a Time Lord. Well, not like the Doctor anyway. Well, maybe. Like some doctors. The doctors are different. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, well, my favorite is the 11th, I believe. Or is it 10th? Either one of those is probably amazing. But the latest one's not so much. What are you doing here? I am looking for useful and interesting Numenera, my friend. The Bloom is a crossroads of worlds. And, didn't you say that already? He said that. A place of power and pain, and a great many people from a great many places pass through here every day. I fund explorers, merchants, and other travelers who wish to bring back more for the collection, and I pay well. And who are these clients of yours? He shakes his head, the smile gone from his face. They are private individuals with no desire for their identities to be made public. They are collectors. That is all I will tell you. That is all I dare tell you. Okay, that's understandable, I guess. It's fine. I'd like to talk about the people of the Bloom. Oh, well, I do not frequently indulge in gossip, but I see no harm in answering your questions. That's interesting that he doesn't see any harm. I wonder what... I wonder if that says more about him than he does about the, Bloom, or the other way around. I'd like to talk about the Memovira. My old compatriot. I've told you what I wish to tell you. She is a hard woman in a hard position. She rose to her rank in the time-honored tradition of the Bloom, with bloody knife in hand. She rules in much the same way, having seen some of the more legitimate governments of the world. Her way simply seems more honest. Unfortunately, the traditions, he thinks, of the Bloom are not finished with her yet. Yeah... Well, he likes her, doesn't he? I think so. What about this area? Why do you remain here in particular? I remain here because a great number of things and people emerge from this particular entrance in the Bloom. I am equipped to deal with them, my friend, and to help with their needs, for I have traveled far and know much of the world. If they prove hostile, his smile turns dangerous. I am equipped for that too. Perhaps you will see what I mean someday. Well, perhaps I will. So that's the same thing as before, yeah. So what can you tell me about the other people here in this chamber? His voice lowers conspiratorially. You heard none of this from me, of course. Let me summarize. Near the well, you'll find Skydie, a small-time merchant. She seems different of late, though why, I cannot say. In the fighting ring near her, you will see an aeons-old killing construct. Waits for prey. Avoid it unless you wish to die. Oh, let's go. Because I can't die. Hopefully. Actually, things might be different now, but well, I don't know. I mean, they can't be different, otherwise we are locked out of our fathom. We don't need to die, though. We can always, if we can go back to Caravanserai, we might be able to not die and just be hypnotized to go back to our mind. His gaze shifts. Near the great door to the fortress, you'll see Brusca, the Memovira's hand and fist. A particular friend of mine, though not particularly friendly to others. She, just as she wants it. And he gestures. Then the slaver Parsium Flint, who claims to abide by the rules, and true, of course, if you have the shins. Of the others, my heart rests in Kian. Is that the proper term? No? No. I empathize with her. She is here through no fault of her own, a victim of chance, a kind of spirit, and a kind spirit, he thinks. He says, rather, and likely a dead one soon. Yeah, I'm gonna try and actually stop that from happening, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We've talked to her, of course. So, who was that automaton you were speaking to over there that we saw you in the last episode? Oh, that, my friend, was one of the decanted. They are servants of the nobles of the City of Glass. Nearly extinct people who value beauty and form. Had I known your interest, I might have suggested it speak to you. However, as I understand it, your body is artificially grown. They prefer their guests organic. He slashes his hand through the air, signifying the end of the discussion. Let us speak of something else. Why did you end the discussion right there? Okay. Let's talk of something else then. I'll see you later. Farewell. Until next time, friend. Okay, so I'm not gonna accept this quest right away. Not that I'm not gonna accept this quest, but just not right away. And we have Memovira thugs, and we might... there's merchants over here. A Bloom guide. Man, I just can't see what's in there. And Parson Flynn. That's the guy. Is that the... Okay, that's the... Oh. Philethes. Do I know you? Oh, by the way, the soundtrack for this place is awesome. I was listening to it before. I hope you can listen to it a little bit better. So we have superhero-looking people, basically. And this guy, Philethes, I want to talk to him. I'm gonna save, though, because it looks like moving around in this area is gonna trigger some things. This Philethes... Oh, it's a Philethes. I think we messed with one of these before. This Philethes seems remarkably similar to the one you met in Sagas Cliffs, right there. Yeah. Indeed, it is identical to the other one in every aspect. If it notices your presence, it gives no sign. Instead, it watches the slave market with a scholar's avid disinterest. That's a beautiful stark contrast right there. Abruptly, its glass face twists in your direction. In a rasping, uninflected voice, it asks, "Why did the child wail?" I think that's what it's supposed to be sound like. The child wail, did it? I didn't hear anything. Oh, wait a minute, that's right, these guys, I forgot about that, actually. These were the guys that were asking us questions at random. Why do we need this? What child are you talking about, a slave? From the Philethes comes the shrill whine of mechanical parts or inhuman vocalization. Eventually, the sound changes to a word. Irrelevant! It's good that they told me how this thing sounds, because I don't think I remember the other one sounding like this. I might have interpreted it differently. Why did the child wail? Because it was hungry. Where he doesn't have that question. Because it was, what's the other thing that children do? Because it was frightened. Wronged? Frightened. Angry, frightened. Lonely, frightened. Hurt, frightened. That's the correct question. Every single one of these hurtles to this one. Well, actually, it just matters for the gold, for the tides, but whatever. For a span, the Philethes stands still and silent. Then, with a gasp like the opening of an old vault, it sighs. Ah, clunk. After a moment, it seems to nod slightly, as if inviting you to pose questions of your own. I've seen you before. No, let's not go with that. I'm looking for someone, a fellow cast-off of the changing god. The Philethes leans its huge bulk towards you, such that your face swells and deforms in its round reflection. You yourself must find... The thing's voice grates with labored certainty. I've seen you before, haven't I? The halls was dark, and the plasmar gleamed. Together we posed questions. That seems the only answer it intends to give right now. What are you? In a strange piping voice, the Philethes replies, "A mudlark on the bank of the river time." Do you know anything about the bloom? Excuse the hiccup. A socket, a doorknob, a crumbling cliff. These are not your face. Each that is itself. The words, already slow, screech to a stop. Its glassy face cocks slightly and a whir comes from within its robes. The mirror does not look back. The bloom cannot teach, but it leaves scraps. One gathers... What is the mirror here? That's time. He sees time as a mirror. The river time, it would make some sense. The bloom cannot teach, but it leaves scraps. One gathers. What do you mean? What are you trying to find? Along... Oh, wait a minute, that's not him talking. Along exhalation comes from the Philethes. The question... Didn't the other one as well have that in mind? Is there something I can do to help you? The question hangs before the silent Philethes. It gives no answer, not even one of the varied sounds of its contemplation. Eventually, it becomes clear that nothing will come. I said, "Can I help you?" Again, the Philethes stands silent. I'm gonna try. Can I just hold 2? Oh, I can't hold 2. I love that in Fallout 1 and 2. You just can hold a key and it goes through all the dialogues. And it's awesome. And especially with the voice-acted things, because it's like... it's just... yeah. Rat scorpions! No, actually, was it that? I don't know. I don't remember. There's red there's red scorpions. I think that's one of the lines from... what's her name? The young girl in Shady Sands. Anyway, farewell. I'll see you later. Courage. That Philethes. Let's have a chat with the decanted and see what they're made of. It looks to have... I don't know. What seizes your eye first about this humanoid automaton is not the cunning construction of its slender limbs or the gleaming white armor that covers its chassis. It is instead the frozen human head that peers out from the frost-covered dome in the construct's chest. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It looks like a face with a hair, I don't know. It was something over there, but I couldn't tell what it was. Like a ball, but it's, yeah, whatever. The head examines you carefully from head to toe. You feel a subtle warmth as scanners inside the machine assess you. The automaton's gaze shifts to Rin and remains on her for a long, long moment, then returns to you. The voices that squawks through a grill mounted atop the construct's head is flat and expressionless. Greetings. We are called the Decanted. We are here representing buyers from our society. Our clients greatly value beauty and physical fitness. A distorted howl cuts its speech short. Apologies. Maintenance for this vessel has not been optimal in recent times. Rectification to be undertaken soon. To summarize, we seek beautiful creatures to honor them. To honor who? And there's just static at the thoughts. For instance, if you look into the... That I shouldn't be capitalized, or maybe it's just supposed to be like that, but it shouldn't. If you look into the slave pit nearby, you see one specimen that stands out from the rest. The young man there, it points. Do you see the interplay of muscles in its body? It is strong, but not overbuilt. The biceps are pleasantly rounded, as are the pectorals. The body has little fat and appears to be in good condition. This is popular among our clients. These are some examples of the traits we seek. Yeah,
I'll remember that.
I'm all for the pectorals as well. Its grill squawks again with a blat of nose. Apologies. It makes a small adjustment. We are here that we might take these subjects to the Optero suite. Or suite? I think it's suit. S-U-I-T-E. Anyway, we offer a life of luxury, privilege, and pleasure for everybody. Accepts. What? It pauses. We offer great rewards. We require 3 individuals with aesthetically pleasing bodies. Was that why you were looking at Rin? Perhaps we can be of mutual assistance. Well, can I bring Sally Mary down here? Because she was hot enough for the changing god. She's got to be hot enough for other people, right? I couldn't tell, but yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm being base and rude. Sure, that was not what happened. It's completely different. There was no indication that she was beautiful. At least I don't remember. So, was it described? Was she? This game doesn't shy away from describing characters as beautiful. So the fact that Sally Mary didn't get described as that, or I don't remember that anyway, probably means that she was. She's not. But yeah, of course I'm being base here. Just because the changing god, you know, shagged her, and again, the baseness, it doesn't mean that she was odd. It just, you know, we felt attracted to her. Quite clearly, according to his thoughts, to his memories anyway. So, the young man in the pit is a slave, isn't he? Why don't you buy him yourself? Oh yeah, he's a slave from that. The auctioneer refuses our coins. He will not sell to us. Why do you keep looking at Rin?
Remember that.
Strong muscle tone, athletic build, great potential to become a sizable recruit. If allowed to take her, we will ensure that she grows to be a healthy, physically active woman in superb condition. That's not a great objective in life, I don't think. Maybe not for her, probably not for her. Yeah, I'm not gonna even ask that first one. Tell me about yourself. The grill buzzes out its flat voice again. We do not have a personal appellation that you would understand. Your people commonly refer to ours as decanted. We achieve long life through these forms, you see, our heads separated and preserved. We need not retain our original forms to preserve the knowledge we carry. We can shed these bodies but live on. This one has lived hundreds of years, though its original body is long since dust. We admire beauty in all its forms and seek to preserve it. We do this as a service to ourselves and as our duty to the world, so that future generations can learn to appreciate beauty as we do. Okay, well, farewell. Psst. Yeah, it's got a thing that in the middle of the head, and oh, look at it's got like little beady eyes, and it's a featureless face. I like it, and also I like how the feet are done, because there's a big issue. There's a big issue for in robotics. Making robots work as we do is really tricky because our bodies are not really optimal, and we're used to making machines. Well, we can only make simple machines, all things considered. You know, despite the complex machinery that we make, but it's complex in relation to the other machinery that we have made over the history. But the thing is, our bodies are extremely, extremely complex, and because they're complex, they're really not optimized for anything. They're just, you know, we do as we must. Like, our feet are more complex than a giant robot, and it just serves as a support, basically. But the thing is, making robots work in an environment that would work, that's easy, right? I mean, if you can run on the street, you can make a car, right? It's easy. Or you can climb a mountain, you can make a helicopter. Do you know what I mean? It's just, you can optimize. And that's how robots are constructed. And those feet over there, they are, as far as I'm aware, usually the most versatile robots that stand on their legs have feet like that. And that's from a little bit of knowledge of robotics, modern day robotics on my side. But so if you're watching this in 5 years, most likely you'll see different feet out there, or something different. There's a lot of things that are going on in robotics. So let's see if I can talk to these slaves or something. Let's see. Bedraggled slaves look up at you through a net of energy that is stretched over the pit. And I was looking at the connections between the things. That's pretty interesting. I like it, but I can't really talk to the. Oh, I can. Wait a minute. And also bedraggled. That's a word. That's a fantastic word. I can't talk to these guys. Not even the hot one? Where's the hot guy? That guy over there? Not this guy for sure. So this guy is hot. I mean, hotter. Look at his arms. It's the arms. Really, guys. And girls as well. It works for both genders. Arms, it's where it's at. I mean, you might not be the be all and all, but if you don't have hot arms, you're not hot. That's that. If you know what I mean, all the power to you. If you don't, well, maybe you'll learn. Let's have a chat with Flint over here. I'm not gonna pay for anything. Let's see what he does, what he says. The fat little man turns towards you, a wide smile already on his face. Indeed, his smile is unnaturally wide, reaching almost to his ears. You notice that his mouth contains 2 rows of white, well-manicured teeth. It shouldn't be manicured, because manicured means hand-cured. That's not sure. It's like the unison thing. You catch me in the midst of an auction, sir, but no need to beg pardon. My clients will wait. He leans forward conspiratorially. I find that a short delay in the proceedings gets them talking amongst themselves and sparks their competitive nature. Ah, good for prices. Oh, the smile gets even wider, if that's possible. Parsim Flint is my name, and this disbursement of the so-called slaves to so-called owners for the betterment of both parties is my trade. What sort of slave are you looking for? Why would I want a slave? Flint blinks in surprise, but his smile doesn't falter. To feed Mars, of course. Unless you're planning to let them feed on you. But I wouldn't advise that. The little man shudders dramatically to emphasize his point. Fresh to the bloom, this one, he thinks. He's not a licensed buyer for sure, then. Okay, so you need to have a license to buy him. That's interesting. That's interesting, because it is very historically accurate. Well, I say historically accurate. It's got a precedent in history. In Roman times, you couldn't actually own slaves if you weren't a citizen. You could be a free man, but if you weren't a citizen, you wouldn't be able to own slaves. But that was, I think that changed actually with the Republic. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that I'm absolutely certain that was well, from what I've learned anyway, that was a thing. Naturally, wait a minute. No, okay, that's him continuing. Naturally, it helps to know what a maw wants before you go buying a slave. Not much point in buying a slave who isn't appetizing to the maw in question. So wait a minute. So there's sacrifice? Or, what? Then he adds in a whisper, you'd be surprised how many people make that mistake. Flint gives you a knowing wink as if to emphasize the silliness of those people. Still, you never know, he thinks. Maybe he would be interested in the boy. Rin tugs urgently at your garment and you glance down at her. You have to buy one. Buy all of them if you can. Oh no, I spent all my money on the lady down there. No. Well, let's see what happens. Flint notices the little girl for the first time. Ah, what a darling child you have there, and smart too. Are you looking forward to feeding your slaves to a maw? Oh, my dear. Not for a maw, says Rin. She whispers, ignoring the little man. We have to set them free. Yeah, I think so as well. Maybe you'd better explain how slavery works around here. Oh, certainly. These slaves, Flint nods at the bedraggled man. Again, the word. It shouldn't be reused. That's too special a word to be used twice. But he nods at the bedraggled men and women in the pit. Are convicts of the foulest sort. They are the very dregs of Sagas Cliffs and her surrounding communities. In order to pay their debt to society, many choose Bloom's slavery instead of prison or execution. These individuals are given to me, and I sell them to the enterprising merchants who ply the Bloom. A magnanimous agreement, he thinks, to think that execution is the only option in some lands. Usually, my clients come to me with specific requirements. Every maw has its own unique tastes, you see, and it won't open unless it gets precisely what it wants. So I offer an appropriate slave, and they feed that slave to the maw. And everyone is happy. Including the slave? Or does he get eaten? What? Let's ask that about that, actually. Flint grins, both rows of teeth shining whitely. Yeah, from inside his enormous mouth. The slaves volunteer to be eaten? Flint blinks, apparently taken aback. Oh, they're desperate people, and being fed to the Bloom is not a death sentence. Well, always. Sometimes the Bloom only devours certain aspects of a person, and they're entirely changed for the better. Or it takes a small, trivial part of them, an eye, or half a stomach, or their ability to feel love, and spits them out into another world where they can start their lives anew. And Flint beams at the thought of it all. Once a maw feeds on a slave, that slave is free. That's the law, mind you, unless the moderns get hold of you. If Flint crinkles his nose in disgust, they don't give a bird's stud about such things. They don't. I still can't believe that a slave would volunteer to be eaten. Look at it from their point of view. They're choosing between life in the dungeons, or worse, execution, and a chance at redemption. Oh, I know it's a roll of the proverbial dice, but a maw won't always kill you. Yeah, I suppose not. So these slaves are all criminals. Of varying sorts, yes. The more vicious, the better. At least, as far as my clients are concerned. Flint leans towards you again, his voice falling to a theatrical whisper. The Bloom has a taste for the criminal element. Dangerous, predatory sorts of people draw its attention. Sometimes for the better, but sometimes for the worst. Okay, what is a maw anyway? Well, I kind of know that, right? Maws are the mouths of the Bloom, my friend. Sometimes they lead to other worlds, or to hidden pockets elsewhere in the Bloom. One never knows, but that's part of the fun, you see. The fun, huh? So how do you know what a maw wants? But that is the question. Sometimes you can puzzle it out on your own by watching the maw, observing the behavior of its tongues. Oh, there's tongues? It's not nice. He wrinkles his nose. A disgusting business altogether. No, better to ask someone who's been here for a long time. They're barking mad, most of them, but they have an uncanny sense of the Bloom's desires. Some of them claim to hear the voice of the Bloom in their minds. Hearing the voice of the Bloom, Flint whistles and waggles his finger at his head. That's when you know you're in trouble, I suppose. But I mean, I did hear part of the Bloom myself, but not really the voice. More like the voices. Anyway, so Dragutin told me that the maws have been closing, and actually the Memovir has been having trouble with that. Oh, yes, they are. Closing, disappearing, changing destinations, and behaving badly all around. Flint glances over at the guards, his smile faltering. That sort of thing is better to stay in a low voice. Or to say in a low voice. Preferably far away from the Memovir's slugs. Or they might get the idea that you're blaming her for the problem. The problem? Why did I say that? Dragutin, he thinks, what does this young man have to do with that chiseler? And she is supposed to have some sort of influence over this giant sack of angry flesh. So who knows, maybe it is her fault. But I would never say such a thing. He smiles beatifically. That means, basically means angelically, or saintly, if you can put it like that. That's, you know, a beatus, I believe, is somebody that's, saint? A saint, or just of heavenly grace or something like that. But anyway, I don't think I got that one. Let me try that again. Beatifically. I got a key in the middle. Beatifically. That's the word. Yeah, that's the one. Beatifically. Because the cleats, it's very, yeah. Anyway, that's a word. That's the end of the episode as well, because we're out of time. So I will see you later. Farewell. Oh, now back to my clients. Indeed, I will talk to you in the next episode, which is going to come out tomorrow. But for right now, I'm ColonelRPG, and this has been Torment, Tides of Numenera. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video, but above all, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.